Meg Munn was speaking at the Foreign Office to mark the anniversary of the 1988 uprising in Burma, when pro-democracy protesters were crushed by the military. The minister said events in Burma were tragic, but the UK government would continue to work for democracy there.
We commemorate the tragic loss of so many lives, but we also celebrate the tenacity of the human spirit. We show our solidarity with the people of Burma who have endured a particularly tragic 12 months. Tonight, we remember not only the victims of political oppression, but also the many tens of thousands who perished this year in the devastation of Cyclone Nargis, and the thousands more who are still struggling to survive and rebuild their lives in its wake. The Foreign Office and the Department for International Development have worked hard in responding to a political as well as humanitarian crisis. With the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, the United Nations and Western countries working together, we have achieved much for the Burmese people since the cyclone. I hope that in the coming months we can build on this cooperation to break the political deadlock.
The minister paid tribute to those who died, as well as those who continue to struggle for freedom and human rights in Burma.
The 1988 uprising cost the lives of thousands of Burma's young generation. They rose and on to call for the restoration of democracy and an end to misrule and the abuse of their human rights. Their lives were brutally cut short by the Burmese military, but their spirit endures. I also pay tribute to those who continue to face intimidation, violence and imprisonment as they work for peaceful change. They make daily sacrifices to keep the flame of democracy alive. Our thoughts rest particularly with the leaders of the protests 20 years ago, who after only 2 years of freedom were detained again for their role in triggering last year's Saffron Revolution.
Ms. Munn renewed the UK government's calls on the Burmese regime to release all political prisoners, including leading pro-democracy campaigner Aung San Suu Kyi.
The internet and other forms of communication inform people around the world about the shameful acts of the Burmese regime. They are responsible for widespread and systematic human rights abuses, the deplorable treatment of ethnic groups, and the detention of over 2,000 political prisoners. Across the world, there is support for the people of Burma. Support that has grown following the marches of last autumn, columns of monks leading people in peaceful protest against appalling and worsening economic and social conditions. As the UN Development Programme boldly reported from inside the country last November, Burma's estimated per capita gross domestic product is less than half that of Cambodia or Bangladesh. The average household spends 3/4 of its budget on food, and less than 50% of children are able to complete their primary education. Even though they continue to deny her freedom, Aung San Suu Kyi cannot be silenced by the regime. Her messages of hope and moderation are accessed daily by people in their thousands from all corners of the world. As the Prime Minister has said, Aung San Suu Kyi's fortitude sends a message that reverberates around the world, that every human being has a right to live in freedom and democracy.
The minister also paid tribute to the work of the British ambassador to Burma and his team.
While we work for international action, we also run projects on the ground in Burma to help boost the capacity of civil society groups. The free and active participation of all Burma's communities in the debate on the country's future remains our goal. The UK's efforts are boosted enormously by our mission in Rangoon, and I'd like to take this opportunity to commend Mark Canning and his team, who have worked tirelessly in very difficult circumstances in the wake of Cyclone Nargis. They are indeed the best of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, and they represent us incredibly well in Burma.
And Ms. Munn ended her speech by stating the UK is steadfast in its commitment to supporting Burma's people.
Burma will not be forgotten. The UK will continue to work hard to support the Burmese people. They have shown their courage and their determination to rejoin the global community. Burma's people, whatever their ethnicity or political beliefs, deserve the democratic civilian government that they have shown so many times that they want. Thank you very much.
The minister said the Burmese regime must start credible talks with the opposition and ethnic groups so they can play their rightful role in determining Burma's future.